Hello and welcome to the Polar Vortex delayed but nonetheless here premiere episode of COPD Navigator Spotlight, where we take some of the complex issues involved in the care and management of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and break them down into more manageable portions. Today we'll be looking at dry powder inhalers or DPIs, a very common but very complex medication delivery device. You can see from the chart here that there are lots and lots of medications to choose from, and unfortunately we clinicians sometimes get caught up in whether somebody is on the right med or the right molecule rather than using the right device. So let's see if we can fix that. There are a handful of different DPIs on the market, some of which deliver different medications or even combinations of medications. Here we first see that I forgot to grab the RespiClick from my office, so we'll skip ahead to the venerable HandyHaler and the newer NeoHaler, followed by the Ellipta device, and finally Admiral Kirk here is helping us out by showing off one of the very first and therefore oldest devices on the market, the Discus. Aw, you don't have to look so left out there, guys. You can help out in a minute. Anyway, all of these devices can be broken down into two basic kinds, single dose and multi-dose. You can see here that mechanically they're very similar. They open up and close very similarly. The biggest difference is that the multi-dose devices like Discus and Ellipta have a month or so's worth of medication stored inside. The single-dose gadgets, as you might expect, have to be loaded with a new dose of medication every time. Often, people prefer the multi-dosers because they are a bit more convenient, but something you'll hear a lot from me is the right device for the right person. It's all about what you can work with and what you like, or at least it should be. So let's take a look at how one of these single-dose devices actually works. First off, what you're going to want to do is open up the entire unit. Sometimes that's just one lid, sometimes it's two, in order to access the medication chamber. That's where the capsule is going to go. We'll zoom in here a little bit and show you that, and then close it up like a cool guy and try to and fail miserably. Once the capsule is in there, you're going to crack it with the button on the side. You're going to open up just the top part, and you're going to take a nice, sharp, deep, fast inhale on the device. You should hear a little bit of a rattling noise as the medication vial rattles around and creates what we call turbulent flow, which helps break up the powder and make it a little bit more inhalable. Unfortunately, you don't always hear that, and that might cause some consternation here. Easy enough to fix. You're going to close the device back up. You're going to tap it on a hot, firm surface or the palm of your hand, worst case, and you're going to take another inhale off of it. Again, very sharp, very fast, very deep. Ta-da! So the multi-dose devices are usually considered a little bit easier to deal with because you don't have to load them up every time, and they have one other distinct advantage. They have a dose counter. So you crack this open one time, you take that same kind of sharp, deep, long inhale, fill up your lungs as big and deep as possible, get all that powder down where it needs to be, and then you're done. Piece of cake, close it up, and you're ready to go for the next time 12 to 24 hours away. But how can you be sure, really sure, that you're getting your meds even with good technique? That's where this little device comes in. It's called an in-check dial, and if your provider's office doesn't have one, they should. It measures your inspiratory flow to make sure you're breathing in fast enough to break up the powder into something your lungs can use. It's adjustable, which is why our good friend Con is holding up the Dakota Ring card, and it's pretty inexpensive. Not sponsored, just saying. Does that all make sense, guys? Con, you seem oh, okay. Glad you're on board. First, you need to make sure the device is set appropriately. Here it goes from no resistance, like for a meter dose inhaler, which we'll talk about in a future episode, all the way up to very high resistance. You can see that little orifice getting smaller and smaller to simulate that. You want to make sure it's set appropriately so that you're getting a good measurement for your particular device. Then you throw in the disposable mouthpiece, take a nice sharp deep inhale, just like you would be taking a regular inhaler shot, and you take a look at the value. The nice thing about this is it gives you a number, which in this case is about 70 liters per minute, and it gives you a nice green scale, which tells us that this is just right for the particular device that it was set at. So to sum things up for dry powder inhalers, these are fantastic devices in the right situations. You have to be able to use them properly, and you have to be able to generate enough inspiratory flow. If you can, the proper technique is to do a fast inhale. Make sure you're sucking up all the particles as hard and fast as you can. You need to make sure to do it sharply, get right to that maximum flow right away so to help break up the particles. And you need to make sure that you're doing it long enough so that you're getting everything where it needs to go. You have to be able to sustain it.